Hi students, very good morning. Today we are going to deal regarding Bohr atomic model. Okay, Bohr has introduced one atomic model to say that where protons, electrons, neutrons are present. So there were many atomic models before Bohr itself, like J.J. Thomson model as well as Rutherford atomic model. Okay, due to failures of Rutherford atomic model, the theory one more theory has come into the existence. That theory is nothing but Bohr atomic model. What does this theory tells? This theory tells that atom has center called nucleus. At the atom, so if you assume an atom, okay, at the center of the atom there is a particle called as nucleus. And what he says is electron revolves are only in a fixed circular paths. Okay, so electron is the negatively charged particle. It is getting revolved in a circular path. See, the path is circular, not the elliptical path. Okay, he is telling that electron is revolves in a fixed circular paths with fixed amount of energy. So the energy is constant whenever an electron is moving in the circular orbit, fixed circular orbit, and the velocity is also fixed. See, energy is fixed, velocity is fixed, and the distance is also fixed at a particular distance. So let assume that here this is the nucleus. Assume that here there is electron. See, whatever the electron present here, it is having fixed amount of energy. It is having fixed velocity and it is at a fixed distance from the nucleus. So, as long as the electron is present here, the energy of the electron will not be reduced. The velocity will not be reduced. The velocity is constant, energy is constant, and the distance is also constant. That is what Bohr is saying. And he has said quantization condition. What is meant by quantization condition? See, he is telling that electrons revolve in the circular orbits. Already he has mentioned the second point itself. He has said that their electrons are moving in the circular orbits, for which the angular momentum is indicated with L. It is an integral multiple of a h by 2 pi. Integral multiple means it will be 1h by 2 pi, 2h by 2 pi, 3h by 2 pi. H by 2 pi is the common thing, and it will be integral multiple. Either the integral multiple will be 1 time or 2 times or 3 times or 4 times or something 5, 6 and n times. But you can't get the value like 1.5, 1.7, 2.5, 2.6, 2.7, like the fraction values you can't get. So this is the quantization condition and most important thing in the Bohr's atomic model. So as long as the electron is in the fixed orbit, okay, in a circular orbit, the energy is fixed, the velocity is fixed, and it is accepting the quantization condition, and it is the angular momentum, the L is an integral multiple of h by 2 pi. And h by 2 pi, it is also called as h cross. Okay, so L is equal to h by 2 pi, 2h by 2 pi, 3h by 2 pi, 4h by 2 pi, and so on, nh by 2 pi. So n can take these values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on. Okay, quantization means it's a fixed amount. Quantization itself, it indicates it's a fixed amount, right? It is 1 time or 2 times or sometimes. Okay, right. What is meant by angular momentum? So whenever a particle is moving in a circular orbit, the angular momentum L, it's a vector quantity. It is represented by radius into momentum. These two are vectors again. Okay, so radius into momentum, you can write it as mass into velocity. Again, velocity is a vector quantity. So you can write it as R. This vector quantity is called V sin theta. So if you assume that electron is moving in a circular path at wherever the particle, if you take here, it will be 90 degrees. If you take here the particle, it will be making 90 degrees. If you take particle here, velocity will be in this direction, nucleus will be in this direction, the angle is 90 degrees. So at anywhere you take, the angle will be 90 degrees. So R mv sin theta, and sin theta is 90 degrees, so that L will be equal to mvr. So angular momentum is equal to mvr, and that should be equal to this one, nh by 2 pi. So Bohr quantization condition, that is mvr is equal to nh by 2 pi. Clear, students? So mass of a electron, velocity, radius of the electron in whatever the orbit it is present, it is equal to nh by 2 pi. This n here same. Okay, in which orbit they are present, that indicates the n. Clear? And n is also called as principal quantum number. This was introduced by Bohr itself. Right? Okay. While revolving, the electrostatic force between the electrons and the nucleus produces centripetal force. See, electron is present. It is moving in a circular orbit. Whenever it is moving in a circular orbit, right, students? Whenever it is moving in a circular orbit, there will be a force of attraction, because at the center of the At the center of the atom, there is a nucleus. In nucleus, we will be having positive particles as well as the neutral particles. These positive particles will attract the negative particles which are revolving in the circular orbit, so that there will be a force. That force is called as electrostatic force of attraction between the electrons and a nucleus. That is called as centripetal force. Clear? See, if you go with respect to physics, in second year you will learn this. Right, Q1 is the charge and Q2 it is also charge. It may be something like negative and positive charges. Okay, the force of attraction between the two charges. So this is the distance. The force of attraction or repulsion between the two charges will be proportional to the product of the charges. See, the force is directly proportional to the product of the charges, Q1 into Q2. And the force, so if you increase the distance between these two, what happens to the force of attraction or repulsion? It goes on decreasing, right? So if you increase the distance, the force of attraction decreases. Okay, if you bring the charges very closer, the force of attraction or repulsion increases, right? Sometimes it decreases, more force will be. So the force of attraction, let us assume that those two are oppositely charged particles. The force of attraction between those two charges, if they are separated by a distance r, the force of attraction will be equal to Q1 into Q2. Force of attraction is inversely proportional to 1 by r square. If you mix these two, force is proportional to Q1 Q2 by r square. If you remove the proportionality, you will be getting 1 by 4 pi epsilon. This is what according to physics, but this is the constant thing. And the force, so this is with respect to charges. So here you will be having negative charge and this is positive charge. So what you will be getting? You will be getting the charges. See here, E is the charge. Here ZE. Z means number of protons that are present in the nucleus. Okay. Proton is having charge, electron is also having charge. We are considering only single electron around the nucleus. And this one, number of protons indicates Z and E indicates charge of one proton. Okay, charge of one proton, this is number of protons. Here only one electron we are taking. And these two are separated by R. This is one charge, this is one charge. Okay, so force of attraction will be ZE into E by R square. So ZE into E by R square. This one is nothing but proportionality. This is what? This is the force of attraction due to the charges, and there develops one more force, okay, which draws inside. That force is called as centripetal force. So if you remove this particle, it will move in this direction. That is called as centrifugal force. So the force which withdraws the electron towards the center of the nucleus, it is called as centripetal, which the force which withdraws the electron perpendicular to the nucleus, that is called as centrifugal force. That force is equal to this one. So if you balance these two forces, electrostatic force will be equal to the centripetal force. If one is higher, what happens? If centripetal force is greater than the electrostatic force, then that electron comes and falls into the nucleus so that the atom will collapse. Clear? If the centripetal force is greater than electrostatic force, means this withdrawing force is greater compared to the electrostatic force. What happens? This electron is attracted by the nucleus and it falls into the nucleus so that atom will collapse. This should not happen, because if that happens, there will be no atom. This is not happening practically. So now what you should do? These two are equal. Means if these two are equal, it can't move away, it can't move closer to the nucleus. So that this will be the condition. So electrostatic force will be equal to the centripetal force. If you remove the proportionality, so electron will be having charge minus E into ZE by R square will be equal to minus mv square by R, because these two are opposite forces. If one is outside, other will be the inside one. Okay. So this one will be the chance, mv square by R will be equal to ZE square by R square. And next point, what he is telling is, while revolving in a particular orbit, electron neither gains energy nor loses energy. That is what we have said in second point itself. It will be having a fixed amount of energy. Okay. Energy of orbit is fixed, so those are called as stationary orbits or stationary energy levels. Whenever the electron is in a particular orbit, the energy of an electron is fixed. So those energy orbits are called as stationary energy orbits or stationary energy levels. Okay, again, this is the contradictory point to this one. Electron can gain energy or lose energy. See, what he is telling is energy is constant. In this point, what he is telling, this is also correct only. Electron can gain energy or lose energy. We will discuss regarding that point again. As long as the electron is in a particular orbit, the energy is constant. Okay, right? It neither takes energy nor loses energy. And the sixth point is electron can gain energy or lose energy. Right. So we shall go with respect to the radius. We know that charge ZE, this is the number of protons into charge. This is one electron we are considering, charge of electron is minus E by R square. And another force, it is mv square by R. This is also opposite direction, right? This is generally charge. This is 1. This is generally these two are equal. Among these two you can take any one negative, because these two are opposite. These two are opposite. If this is negative, this will be positive. If this is positive, this will be negative. And basically this is the condition. So if you apply negative for this one, okay, so this one is generally minus z square by r square equal to minus mv square by r. So minus minus will be cancelled. So z square by r will be equal to mv square. So r is cancelled here. So that you will be getting z square by r is equal to mv square. That is the first condition. Now we know that according to the angular momentum, mvr is equal to nh by 2 pi quantization condition. Square this one. So that you will be getting m square v square r square is equal to n square h square by 4 pi square. Okay, send this r square this side. So m square v square is equal to n square h square by 4 pi square r square. So m square you can write it as m into m. So you bring 1m this side, so that m v square will be equal to n square h square by 4 pi square r square m. Okay, we have made subject as mv square. Now you take this mv square and place here. Okay. So z square by r will be equal to n square h square by 4 pi square r square into m. Now here r is there, here r square is there. Clear? This r will be cancelled. R, you will be getting r here. So z square will be equal to n square h square by 4 pi square r into m. You make subject, you send this r this side, so that r will be equal to n square h square. You send this z square this side. So n square h square by 4 pi square z square m. So n, it will be changing based on the orbit. Okay, if it is first orbit it is 1, if it is second orbit it is 2, if it is third orbit it is 3. H is constant. H is called as Planck's constant. The value of H is equal to 6.6 into 6.625 into 10 power minus 34 joules second, or 6.625 into 10 power minus 27 eggs. Right. And if you, that is the value of H, 4 is constant, pi is 3.14, and Z, this is the variable. If it is for hydrogen it is 1, if it is helium it is 2, if it is lithium it is 3. E is constant, E is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19, and mass 1.97 into 10 power minus 27 kgs. Right. So if you substitute all the values, only variables are n square, h square. So n square, h square are, sorry, n square and z are variables. So n square by z is variable. And remaining values, if you keep and calculate, you will be getting 0.529 n square by z in Armstrongs. And you know that 1 Armstrong is equal to 10 power minus 8 centimeters. This is the value of radius. You should remember this, student. The proportionality R is proportional to n square by z. R in the nth orbit, radius of the nth orbit will be equal to 0.529 n square by z Armstrong. So 1 Armstrong is equal to, this is the value. So in this way he has calculated. This is what we will be doing with respect to the chemistry. Okay, we will be finding out the radius of an orbit. If you want with respect to physics, this is the condition. Electrostatic force will be equal to the centrifugal force 1 by 4 pi epsilon z square by r square mv square by r. This is your wish. You can do in any way. And epsilon is the permeability. So this one basically in physics, atomic physics, you will learn all these things. But our condition is this one. Okay, students? Right. So take some questions. Find the radius of first, second, third shell of hydrogen atom. He is asking the radius. And you know that r is equal to 0.529 into n square by z. For radius of first, he is asking shell number, first one he is telling. So r1 is equal to 0.529, n is 1 square by 1. Okay, n square means first orbit is asking, n is 1 by atomic number of hydrogen is 1 itself. So 1 square by n square is 1 square by 1. So it is 0.529 Armstrong. Second one, 0.529 2 square by 1, because atomic number will not change, z will not change, only radius is changing, because for second orbit it is this one. So 0.529 into 2 square. Third orbit it is 0.529 into 3 square by 1. That is the condition for that one. Next question is, which of the following will have the same radius of the first shell of hydrogen atom? So this is the condition. N is equal to 2, lithium plus 2, N is equal to 2, beryllium plus 3, C is equal to, N is equal to 2, helium plus 1, N is equal to 3, helium plus. These are the conditions. So if I go for the first one, what is telling? He should be the, which of the following have the radius or same radius of the first shell of hydrogen. So if you go for the first shell of radius atom, what will be the radius? That will be 0.529 into 1 square by 1. So it will be equal to 0.529. So whatever the one you calculate for all these things, you should be getting this value. So if you go for the second one, 0.529 into, what is the beryllium atomic number? Atomic number is 4. Z is 4, N is equal to 2 square. So 2 square by 4. So 4 will be cancelled. So it is equal to 0.529. So answer will be the second one. So Bohr model is, see students, you remember this, and this model is applicable only for the single electron species. Okay, only for single electron species only Bohr model is applicable. This is how he has calculated the radius of an atom. This is for today's students. Have a nice day. Bye bye.